Jar Oil. The company have filling stations across the country, and our rates are relatively cheaper than anyone else across the country. Jar Oil is the biggest producer and distributor of cement in the country with the most competitive prices in the market.
Excellent jam, si Wave.
Yo, apply. Yo, luta do dede. Luta mo nulo jël moto nga andil ma xaalis. Hello? Ano lay waxal?
Bisul mu fine.
What?
Bisul mu fine.
Oh, yes!
Wave Axina Gambia. Deposit and withdraw money, pay bills and buy mobile credit without fees. Transfer money wherever in the country for only 1% fee. At Wave. Bisul mu fine? Wave. Your money is yours.
Thursday, the 31st of July 2025. It's just gone past the hour here in the Gambia. You're watching Coffee Time with Peter Gomez on West Coast Radio 92.1 on FM. Online, we are at www.wcr.gm. Now, there's a lot of talk around exiled former dictator Jammeh's ill-gotten wealth and the assets he left behind. There's ongoing speculation over the Gambia's oil and natural gas deposits, as well as its rare earth mineral reserves, and of course, on governance. Perceived lack of transparency and accountability. Now, I say perceived. Larry will try to prove to me it is actual, real lack of transparency and accountability. Larry, welcome back.
Thank you, Peter. Good morning.
For the past two appearances here, you always came with a small container with something inside. Are you here with that container?
It's a
No, not this one, not this one, not this one. You know what I'm talking about. People who come from Alcamba usually come with that.
Yes, well, I've not gone to Alcamba recently, so there is the supply chain has been broken somewhat.
He always brings me sour milk, curdled milk, sour, every time he visits. Well, welcome back. And where do we start? I mean, you've got so much to talk about this morning.
Well, Peter, good morning again to you and to your listeners, both at home and abroad. I think these issues that you are talking about are glaringly present in our public space. The Janneh Commission has done its work, submitted its reports to the President and his government. The disposal process started. And now Parliament is actually investigating the investigators, sort of, because of the way the assets were handled. I think there is a way out of this.
There is?
There is a way out of it.
Okay. Well, they usually say that UDP only criticizes, they offer no solutions.
Well, we offer solutions. They are just not too receptive to them. But some of them are implementing our ideas. All you have to do is to go to our 5-point agenda and the manifesto, and the answers are there. If they want us to literally, physically write position papers to help them solve things, that is a different story.
They should say as much.
Yes. So the Janneh Commission has done what I consider to be a fairly comprehensive job of trying to capture Jammeh's assets. And that is commendable. But you recall, as soon as the reports were presented to the President, APRC called a press conference. Fabakary Tombong says this has not fully captured Jammeh's assets. We need to go further to identify them. Now, I have written on my Facebook page that given that statement from him and his Speaker of Parliament, and his Parliament is investigating the way the assets were disposed, he should come before the Commission and dispose him.
Yes.
Let him tell us where the other assets are. The second point I want to make is that when you look at all the witnesses that are appearing before the parliamentary committee, this is just like kicking the can further on the street. Gambia, we have now developed a mindset that says, I will do things, or we will do things together. There is no consequence for what we do. And when we go public to explain this thing, you say, I don't know. It's an order from above. You try to paint somebody else for what you have not done. And this is what the parliamentary committee is revealing.
Oh.
No, when you look at a few days ago when the Secretary to Cabinet appeared in the committee, they asked him for the documents. He says he doesn't have them. And social media went gung-ho over him because he does not have the documents. Now, having worked in that environment, what struck me about it all is that here is a man who's been in the position just 2 years, and the report was submitted 3 years before that. And we are blaming him for not having the reports. For all we know, the reports were gone before he was there. That hasn't been answered. So I think it should be a collective thing. Everybody that is involved in handling those reports in the presidency need to be called to bring those reports out. Interestingly, the reason why I wanted to talk about this a little bit is that when the reports came out, I intuitively said, let me go to printing department and buy this whole hard copy set, because the government's websites normally do not function well. And I paid $60,000 for the 9 volumes. 60,000 for the 9 volumes.
Oh, wow.
Now, I have those 9 volumes, and I want to remind this government what is in those 9 volumes in a synoptic way.
Yeah.
Now, volumes, Mr. Jane, when he presented the reports to the president, he spoke comprehensively about what is in those reports. And it's a matter of record. Somebody forwarded it to me the other day. I said, well, I also have it because I kept these reports. So I want to refresh the government's memory back to those reports. Maybe that will joggle their minds to bring these reports out, because they're sitting there somewhere and nobody can tell me those reports just grew legs and walked away. Somebody took them away, somebody is keeping them.
Well, you have them anyway, so at least we know that they are safe somewhere. They may not be safe where they were meant to be safe, but at least we know that Larry Cisse,
I have them, hard copies, and I tried to download the soft copies. I still can't because the internet is.
Well, there's one whole volume missing anyway.
Well, I have the volumes.
Yeah, there's one whole volume missing, yes.
Now, to refresh their memories and our listeners.
Yes.
Volume 1 and 2 dealt with the financial dealings of President Jammeh. Financial dealings meaning they gleaned that everything that is in the banking sector in bank accounts and came up with volumes 1 and 2. And it's comprehensive. The information there is exhaustive as far as our domestic scene is concerned. Now, whether he has resources abroad, where, I don't know.
Okay.
But in terms of what is in the Gambia, I think the Commission did a fantastic job in trying to capture those things. Now, where the foreign side of things are, is that you recall the Panama Papers.
Yes.
When the Panama Papers were released, it showed that Yahya Jammeh and a local business person, I think it was Amadou Samba, had a bank account abroad containing $900 million US.
900 million.
Go to the Panama Papers.
Almost $1 billion.
Almost $1 billion. That hasn't been captured in this because I don't think the Janneh Commission had their terms of reference covered that, or they haven't done it. But it's in the Panama Papers.
Oh, wow.
And those who remember when those Panama Papers were released, know that this information is in that is in those
Papers.
Panama Papers. Yes. The volume 3 is the special listed properties, the properties that Yahya Jammeh had. That too is exhaustive. It has list numbers, it has sketch maps, and it has all sorts of information regarding what he owns. Now, this is where Fabakary Tombong Jatta should come in to tell us those properties that were not captured in these special listed properties, where they are and who owns them. Because he claimed that part of it is not exhaustive. And now he's Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, please speak up.
Yeah. Interesting. We met at a funeral yesterday, and you should have seen us shake hands and really old acquaintances. Yes.
Yeah. Volume 4 deals with Jammeh's companies and charities, and it has 3 parts: parts 1, 2, and 3. It's very voluminous, but it's actually revealing in terms of the institutional arrangements that Jammeh did to siphon money from the central bank, from the state-owned enterprises, foreign aid grants, and funnel them into his various companies. I think the famous one that Jammeh Commission popularized is the Kanilai family farms. And there is also some investment companies related to that. So that too is exhaustive. Volume 9, I skipped the other volumes because some of them are related to policies that Jammeh had done, and I don't think that is what we are interested in. We know they are bad policies. What we are interested in is these assets. And volumes 1, 2, 3, 4, 9 capture those assets as best as possible. That's why I'm skipping
5, 6, 7, and 8.
5, 6, 7, and 8. Volume 9 deals with the individual responsibility for civil and criminal wrongs. Individual responsibility for civil and criminal wrongs. It's also a huge volume, and it lists in alphabetical order who did what, when and where, and how much did it cost the country. I like this particular volume 9. I said to somebody, I have it so handy. Sometimes when I'm relaxing, I would read it. Because every time I read it, my heart literally sinks because of the kind of damage and pilferage that these individuals have done. And for some of them, it's in the millions of dollars, millions of dollars, millions of euros, millions of pounds sterling. And the recommendation was some of these people have been banned, as we all know, for holding public office, some for 10 years, some for life, banned to not sit on the board of directors of certain companies. And the government's acceptance of the reports were captured in the white paper. They responded to each of the recommendations, and they accepted up to 90%, 99% of what was recommended. But they cherry-picked others and decided, especially on the personal bans of certain individuals because of the criminal nature of what they have done. And he decided not to accept some of those. He waived them, and he reappointed some of them. That is where we are on the Jammeh Commission. I just think that Gambians have become too tired of commissions of inquiry. They are tired. They've seen Jammeh do a series of commissions of inquiries. The most popular one was the Algali Commission. That has seized some properties of former PPP leaders. Then Jammeh leaves the scene. This Jammeh Commission was set up, the TRRC was set up, and Gambians are really commission fatigued. They don't want these commissions anymore. They want the government to act not in a retributive way, but let the law take its course, and wherever it falls, it falls. So people should not think that this parliamentary inquiry is going to answer all of the questions.
Oh.
I don't expect it to answer all of the questions. I expect it to reveal, like we are seeing in some of the officials who go before it, what we are seeing is that glimpses of what has happened are being revealed in that commission. But the comprehensive nature of the Janneh Commission's report on its assets, I don't think we'll ever know, because these documents will never come out. If they come out, I will be the first to applaud the government to say, well done. But I have no faith, and I think the majority of Gambians have no faith in this government being transparent enough to release these documents. And that brings us to the next issue of governance and transparency.
Well, before we get on to that, I mean, what's in it, for the government to sit on this kind of information, as to what happened really to, the loot that was recovered, if you like?
I think Gala's protest the other day has given me another, how do I put it, another way of looking at what is going on. They use the word looted assets. And you notice the Ministry of Justice came out and said, no, you don't have a legal basis to use looted.
Oh.
Yeah. They came out, and the Gala guys just stood firm on their name. And for me, that's what galvanized me to go out there and give them moral support.
Yeah, that's not the perspective of government.
Yes.
UDP organized this.
Yeah, but that's what they are saying. But we all know UDP didn't organize this thing. The Gala is a constellation of young people who have strong views about what this country should be today, 60 years after the elections. And some of the things these young people are concerned about, us adults ought to be concerned about. And that is the wanton pilferage of our national resources. And that is what strikes me in terms of saying these young people need to be supported. Yes, you see social media commenting, it's a UDP affair and stuff. We all know it's not UDP affair. But we all also know that UDP is the punching bag of everything that goes wrong in this country. Even as we are talking about this massive corruption, you would see people comment to say it was a UDP government. It wasn't a UDP government. UDP had 3 members of parliament out of what, 20, 23? 3 members of parliament. I mean, in the cabinet.
Cabinet, yes.
They left in 2018. So all the things that happened between 2018 and now, UDP cannot be held responsible or accountable for. So me, when I hear them say it's a UDP government, or they put Barrow there, they gave us Barrow, I think that is the biggest cop-out and disappointment that I have about us as a people. Because we see the truth, we refuse to recognize it, and we turn it into something else so that you can kick the can further along the road. We need to, this Janneh Commission report, the TRRC, what they are all pointing at is the need for serious structural reforms of our national institutions. Because these institutions are not as trustworthy in the eyes of average Gambians as they could have been or should have been. I think public confidence, and I think there was a survey to that effect. I can't recall exactly where that, but people don't have a whole lot of confidence in our institutions' ability to execute their mandates. And these commissions are showing that. The Janneh Commission has shown it, the TRRC has shown it, and the rest of the reforms that need to happen, when you talk to government, they say, but we are reforming. But you don't see the structural changes that reforms are supposed to bring about. And I'm glad, I think it was yesterday or day before yesterday, my former agency, UNDP, is organizing a governance forum for Sahel countries in the Gambia. And if
it opened yesterday.
Yeah, and we all know the foundation for good governance is transparency, accountability, probity. This government is anything but.
Well, they say they are transparent. It's because of their transparency that we are talking about all these, financial issues, whether going wrong or missing or whatever, because, and they point specifically to this, that the National Audit Office for the first time is able to operate unhindered, issue its reports, and people come to platforms like this and discuss openly.
I'm glad I am one of those people who normally have a habit of accessing those NOA reports. I think the government's argument is very weak, and I'm being kind in saying I think their argument is very weak. Yes, the NOA was producing reports, but there was a change at the NOA, at the leadership level. When the former Auditor General was there,
Karamba
Ture, yes, the gentleman called Karamba, when he was there, he audited this government in a way that is transparent and it follows internationally accepted standards of auditing. Why do I say that?
Why do you say that?
He audits the government institutions in what the auditors call the audited financial statements. Let's say they go to the presidency. They will audit the presidency, not just management audit, but they will go further to do what is called a financial, audited financial accounts of the presidency. Now, the change happened. That has somewhat stopped or minimized because I haven't seen them issue audited financial statements in a long time. And I have engaged them on social media, on LinkedIn, to say, you guys are releasing audit reports that are 5 years old. And those who pay attention to these audit reports, it's a 5-year cycle. And it was designed like that. You can't blame the NOA for that.
Okay.
Yahya Jammeh designed it like that, where they do these financial audits, management audits, and they send it to the National Assembly. And the National Assembly takes it to the Finance Committee.
That is FPAC.
FPAC. The Finance Committee chair uses this discretion to expedite reviewing, releasing those documents, or to sit on it. One FPAC chair sat on audited reports for 5 years.
Oh, wow.
After he left Parliament, the floodgates of, that's how I got all these reports that, information that have been releasing in this program and in other programs. Now, this new Auditor General, they issue mostly management audit reports. Management audit reports just look at the structure of the organization, how the organization functions, but it does not go deep into the financial records of that thing, because the only way they can do that is to issue audited financial reports on a particular institution. You also see a pattern in the NOA. They're going to come out, but you also see a pattern in NOA where they are going NAO, where they are going to different countries to understudy how they do auditing. For me, that is a misplaced priority. If you have an independent institution that is created by Parliament, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to understudy
best practice
elsewhere. You should do best practice elsewhere, but you should also do the financial audited reports. And I'm challenging them to release those financial audited reports. Because when I raised it on LinkedIn, several Gambians abroad say to me, you are just saying what I'm thinking. And they commented on the LinkedIn thing. They know those comments were made. You are basically saying what we are thinking, because these audited reports come 5 years after the fact. They will show a lot of gaps and stuff, but you cannot do structural changes, structural reforms based on that kind of old information. You can't. Unless, of course, if you say, I'm going to totally overhaul the system, and you do a total overhaul, and we all know that creates chaos. You don't need to have that chaos. So I'm challenging the National Audit Office to release those things. They say the response to me was that, Mr. Sise, thank you very much for raising this issue, but please know that we do our audits and we send it to the National Assembly. If the National Assembly doesn't release it, we can't release it. So for me, that's one area of change that can happen right now. Do your audits and release it. Don't take it somewhere where it will sit
if the act does not allow them to do that, they can't act outside of the act.
I am saying that's where the reforms should begin.
Okay.
So I have some low-hanging fruits as far as reforms are concerned that this government could have done to unleash all of these issues, and it's not doing it. So when the government say we are transparent, yes, to a certain extent they are transparent. They are more transparent than a dictatorship, and I don't think that is a badge of honor. So when they say they are transparent, yes, they are transparent because we have some information to deal, but it's not current information as far as the government's finances are concerned. Now, let them tell us all these contracts that they have signed. That's where governance and transparency comes into play. Let them tell us, they release the contracts. I've been saying this in this platform, and release the contracts for the Senegambia Bridge. Tell us what is in that contract, but release it. Release the contracts that you have signed with Al Bayrek on the port of Banjul. For me, I am very, very passionate about that one.
Absolutely.
Because this is a developed port that was making money. It was paying dividends to the government. And you decide to contract it to a company that has a track record in one country, at least in Guinea, where they messed up.
We'll come back to that. We are with Larry Sise this Thursday morning, the 31st of July 2025. Coffee time with Peter Gomez. Of course, we need to take a break and, acknowledge the support given to the program, the reason for the continued existence of the program by our sponsors.